Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to another crochet tutorial. Today we are going to be doing a potpourri or decorative bowl with a little flower in the middle or on the side. It's optional, so you can do a lot of things with this little decorative bowl. So yeah, what you're going to need for that is a skein of yarn. I am using Republic of Yarnia yarn, and this is in the Spring Balthazar colorway, and also so that's just 100 grams of that. It's about 225 meters. And then this little salmon Spring Balthazar salmon colorway, and that is about 20 grams. So you just need that for the flower, and the flower is in another video, and I'll link to that as well. You'll need scissors, and also 3 hooks. 2 of these are for the bowl, and then the third one is for the flower. So I used a 4 and a 5 for the bowl, 5mm and 4mm, and a 3mm for the flower. And all of that is based on the colorway from this beautiful manuscript image. Yeah, so it's very springy and colorful with lots of soft pastels. So that will go, the bowl will go with pretty much any colorway in your room. You will also need 3 strips, so basically 1 sheet of plastic mesh, and then I cut that into, so I just took the length of the entire sheet and then cut those to about 4 centimeters in width across here. So there's 3 of those, or you can cut more, and that's just to reinforce the bowl at the end so that it's nice and firm. Yeah, so scissors and a little sewing needle to sew in the ends, and if you would like, you can use a stitch marker or an extra piece of yarn if you want to go the economical route, and that's fine. So that's all you need in terms of materials, so we can jump right into it. So we're going to start with the 5mm hook here, and you're working into rounds. So it's going to be relatively easy, just going in circles, round and round and round. So the first thing we do is we make a magic loop. So that's just yarn or put your yarn over like that and hook it. Pull that through and then lock it into place. So just so that it's not going to fall apart. Chain 1. So once you do that, you're going to single crochet 8 into this loop. I am losing my voice. So that's single crochet 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you've done that, you just pull the loop tight. Just like that. And also, you don't have to use this yarn. Use whatever you have, whatever you're comfortable with. So once you've done that, you're going to join with a slip stitch into the first stitch that you did. So just pull your yarn all the way through. And then if you want to ensure that you have 8, you can count as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, perfect. So for round 2, basically we're just going to grow the base of the project. So this is just going to be the base. We're going to grow it. And yeah, so let's do that before we switch. So you're always going to chain one for every round that you start and grow. Now, if you need stitch markers at this point or whatever, then go ahead and add that in. But this next round is very easy. You're just putting 2 stitches into every one of these stitches. So you're going to have 16 stitches. So, and it's just single crochet. So if you do that, you can pause the video and just do 2 into each one, and then I'll meet you back when you're done here. Okay, once you have 16 around here, you'll have a little gap where you started. So you are going to slip stitch into the very first stitch that you did, and that is how you begin and end each row. So you're going to slip stitch, always slip stitch into the first stitch, and that's how you end every row. Okay, for round 3, we're going to chain 1, and into this same space here, you're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then into the next stitch, you're doing 1 single crochet. And then into the next one, you're doing 2, and you're going to do that pattern all the way around. So it's 2 into that one, and then 1 into the next one, and then 2, and then 1. So do that all the way around until you get to the end or the beginning, and you will have 24 stitches. So you can pause the video, and then I'll meet you back at the very end. Okay, we are back. So you should have 24 all the way around. Make sure that you slip stitch into the first stitch that you did, and then chain 1. And if you need your stitch marker, you can add that now. So into this same stitch here that your beginning stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets, and into the next one you're doing 1 single crochet, and into the next one you're doing 1, and then into the next one you're doing 2. So it's 2 1 1. That's the pattern for this round. So 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet. So I'm going to leave you to that. That's round 4. When you have reached the end, you should have 32 single crochets. Look how fast you're working. Yes. You've made it. So now you just slip stitch into the first stitch again, chain 1, add your stitch marker if you need, and now we are doing round 5. So into that same space or stitch, you're doing another 2 single crochets, and then into the next 3 stitches you're doing 1 single crochet. So it's the pattern for this round is 2 in 1 stitch, and then 1 1 1. Okay, so we just did 2, and then we're doing 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then 2 into the same stitch, and then single crochet into the next 3 stitches. That's the pattern for this round. You will have 40 at the end of this round. So you can pause the video, and I'll meet you back after you're done. You did it. Yes. You should have something that looks a little bit like this. So into the first stitch again, you do your slip stitch, and then you chain 1, and we are on to round 6. So for this round you do 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and into the next 4 stitches you're doing 1 single crochet. So the pattern is 2 1 1 1 1. So do that all the way around. You will have 48 stitches at the end, and I will meet you when you are done this round. We are back. You've done it. Way to go. You should have 48 stitches. Like I said, it's starting to look like a little, what is this? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, octagon. That's right. 8 for an octagon. Okay. So that's your math lesson for today. Just slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1 into this same stitch. You're doing 2 single crochet. So that is always how you start. You do 2 single crochets into the same stitch that you are beginning. Now into the next 5 stitches, you're doing a single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the next one you're doing 2 crochets, just 2 single crochet into the same stitch, and then 5 cross. And so you're going to have a total of 56 stitches. So just continue, get back to the beginning. If you have a stitch marker, then that's where I'll meet you, and then we will start row 8. Hey, you did it. So this is kind of what your project should look like. You should have a little octagon. Now, what we're going to do for round 7 is a little bit different, and that is just so that it makes the octagon look more like a circle. So it's not going to be so defined with these sharp edges. So round 7 is a little bit different. So I've already slip stitched and chain 1. So into this first stitch again, you do 1 single crochet. Okay, and then you do 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 3, 4, 5, and so that will give you 5 single crochets, and then into the next one you do 2 double, or so not double, you do single crochets. So do 2 single crochets. So it's 5 single and then 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So keep doing that all the way around. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the next one you do 2 into the same stitch. So keep doing that all the way till the end, and I will meet you back. So you can start to see here that the shape is changing and it's turning more into a circle. So just continue that all the way around, and I will meet you back here. So you should be done round 7. This row, or this round, ends with 2 single crochet into the same, in the last stitch, and then you slip stitch into the top of the starting one, and there you go. So now we're going back to the regular scheduled pattern. So chain 1, put your stitch marker in, and then it's 2 double crochet, or sorry, I keep saying double. It's 2 single crochet into this same stitch again. So there's a couple of rounds where there's the odd ball out, The next one will be round 12. So for now, we're just doing 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And then you're going to do 6 single crochets into the next 6 stitches, and then that's the pattern for this round. So just continue, and then I'll meet you back at the beginning here. Oh, and before I forget, you should have 64 single crochets at the end of round 8. Hey, we're back. This is what our project is looking like. It's if it does start to kind of look like it's going to frill or something, don't worry about that. It will flatten out. So slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, and round 9 is 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then you're going to single crochet into the next 7 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it's back to 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then into the next 7 it's single crochets. So that's the pattern all the way around. You will have 72 stitches at the end of this round. So I will meet you back at the beginning. Hey, here we go. We are back. Here is our sort of octagon. Don't worry, it'll turn into a circle. So you should have 72 stitches all the way around. I have slip stitched into the beginning, and now I'm just going to chain 1, and into round 10 we're doing 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then all the way around we are doing, or sorry, in the next 8 we're doing single crochets. So do that all the way around. So it's 2 into the first stitch, then 8, and then 2, 8, all the way around, and that will give you 80 stitches, and I will meet you back at the beginning. So we are making progress. Yay. Okay, we are on to round 11. I've already slip stitched into my previous round. You should have at this point 80 stitches. So I'm going to chain 1, and into the same stitch do 2 single crochets, and into the next 9 I'm doing single crochets. So the pattern for this round is 2 into the 1 stitch, and then 9 stitches, and then 2 into the same stitch, and then 9. All the way around you will have 88 stitches at the end of this round, and I will meet you back at the beginning here. Okay, so here we are. We should have 88 stitches. Now we're going to do row 12, which is a little bit different. So we're going to chain 1, and then you're going to single crochet into the same stitch, and then you're going to do another 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then into the next stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets. Okay, so you should have 7 stitches all in this round. So now we're going to go back to the regular pattern. So you're going to do 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And then into the next 10 stitches, you're doing 1 single crochet into the next 10. So do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then into the next one you do 2 single crochets, and then 10 single crochets, nine, 10, and then 2 single crochet again into the same stitch, or the next stitch I guess, and then 10 more single crochets, and then 2 single crochets, and then another 10, and then 2 in the same, or into the next stitch, and then another 10, and then 2 into the next stitch, and then 10, and then 2 into the next stitch, and then 10 again, so when you finish those you should have 5 stitches left, and into the next 5 you do 5 single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you need to count, you should have 96 stitches all the way around this project. So then you single, or you slip stitch into the top of the first one, and then we are going on to round 13. So chain 1, and we're back to the same sort of pattern that we were doing before. So that's 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then it's 11 stitches. It's 2 single crochet, and then 11 single crochet into the next 11 stitches, and then 2 into the next one, and then 11 all the way around, and you will have 104 stitches. So I'll let you complete that, and then I'll meet you back when you are done that row around. So round 14 is the same as we've been doing for the general pattern. So it's 2 single crochets into the first stitch, and then into the next 12 stitches you do a single crochet. So that's the pattern all the way around, and that will give you 112 single crochet stitches for round 14. So I will let you pause the video and get to it, and I'll meet you back when you are done that round. Okay, we should be done row 14. We are going to be starting row 15 now. Your project might be kind of bunching up. Don't worry about that. It will flatten out once you're done your base. Don't worry. So for round 15, it's the same thing. We are going to do we're going to chain one and then do 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next 13 all the way, and that's the pattern all the way around. So just continue with that for row 15, and I will meet you back at the beginning, and we are going to be doing another odd round for round 16. So I'll see you back at the end of round 15. Okay, we are done row 15. Congratulations. Row 16 is going to be another odd one, just to make sure that we're not working this into an octagon, so it will kind of soften up the edges again a little bit more. And don't worry if your project again is curling up. Once you stretch it out too, it will be fine. So we're doing round 16. We're going to end up with 128 stitches. So first thing we do is chain 1, and then into the same stitch we do 1 single crochet, and then do 6 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then into the next stitch we do 2 single crochets, and then into the next 14 stitches we do a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and then you are going to do 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then another single crochet into the next 14. Okay, when you've done those 14, you do 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then another 14. And then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then another 14. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then 14 stitches, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then 14 more. And then another 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then 14. So that will leave you 7 stitches that are remaining. So you do 7 single crochets into the next 7 stitches, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that, my friends, gives you 128 stitches. So we finish that with a slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, and then we're back to the regular scheduled program of doing, after you've chained 1, you do 2 single crochets into the same stitch for round 17, and this is going to, you do 2 single crochets, and then into the next 15 you do a single crochet. Do that all the way around, and that will give you 136. So just continue that way, and that will be the base of your project. Let me just move that out of the way. So once you do the last round, that will be almost it, and then we're going to start working our way up the sides. So I'm going to leave you to it. So remember, it's 2 single crochets into the first one, and then a single crochet into the next 15 stitches, and then into the next one it's 2 single crochets, and then 15 all the way around until you have 136. So I will see you at the end of round 17. Okay, we've made it 136 stitches in total. Do a slip stitch into this stitch, your first stitch, and then for round 18 you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to single, so you'll probably need your stitch marker now, so if you want to stick your stitch marker in, and then into the back loops only. So you see how there's 2 there's 2 loops here for every stitch that you make. You're just going into, so this is the front loop and this is the back loop. So you're going to do a single crochet into every stitch. So you can do one into just a regular single crochet into the first or into that same stitch that you started, but then for the rest of them all the way around, you're going into the back loops only, just like that, and then doing a regular crochet, a single crochet, so just into the back loops, just like that. So you'll see a little ridge appearing here. So continue along that all the way around, and you'll have 136, and I will meet you back when you're done. All right, so now that we have the base done, this is basically it. This is your base, and you've already done the first row that's going to make the bowl kind of, well, you made the side, beginning of the side. So if you did it correctly, you should have kind of a little ridge here and 136 stitches around. And again, if it looks a little bit frilly or whatever, it will flatten out. But also, if you want to measure it, it should be without you stretching it too much. It should be about 8 inches across. That's that. Now we are going to continue to move up the side of the bowl, and we are on round number 19. Yeah, so make sure you slip stitch into your first stitch, and then you are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this is the part where we get a little bit fancier, and that's just going to make the bowl, it's just going to give it a more unique and elegant look. So if you don't want to do, if you want to alter it and make it just rounds, then you can do that all the way up. But this just adds a little bit of a different look to it and makes it look kind of like some of the bowls that you would see in ancient pottery, and bowls like sort of the little ridges and the sort of metal work that artists were using. So yeah, we're just kind of tapping into history as well. Okay, so we have our chain 3. Now we're going to, into this same stitch, we're going to do a 3 puff double crochet. So to do that, and this chain 3 also counts as basically a puff, so it will all make sense. So yarn over and go into the same stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull up a loop, and pull it up kind of loose so that you're not, all tight, and it won't be difficult to work with. So then you'll yarn over one more time and pull through all of your loops except for the first loop on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through those 2 stitches. So that creates a little puff here. Okay, so now that we have our puff, we do a chain 1, and then we are going to skip the next stitch, and into the next stitch we are going to do a double crochet. So you yarn over into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So it'll look like that. Then you chain 1 and then skip the next stitch, and into the next stitch you're doing a 4 puff double crochet. So we did 3 in this one, we're doing 4 in this one. So, and we're doing 4 all the way around from now on. The only time you do 3 is for the starter one. Okay, so yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. And so you have all these loops on there. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, so then you yarn over and pull through all of those loops except for the last one. Then yarn over and pull through that one. And there is your nice little puff. So then we chain 1 again. We're going to skip the next stitch, and into the next one we do a double crochet. Just like that. Then chain 1 and then do your puff, your 4 puff double crochet. So pull up a loop, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, pull through those, then yarn over and pull through again, and then chain 1, skip the next stitch, go into the next stitch and do a double crochet. So I'm going to leave you to that, and that's basically the pattern. And what's going to happen is it's going to sort of look like that when you get all the way around. So I'll leave you to that and meet you back when you have made it back to the final stitch here. Okay, if you have done this correctly, you will have 34 puff stitches around, but in total all of the stitches will still be 136. And this is sort of what your project will look like. It's still not, well, you can fold it and start folding it up, but this is what it looks like flat. And yeah, so remember to like and subscribe if you like this sort of content, and yeah, hopefully we'll continue our journey together. So we're going to continue now. We're doing round 20. So to start that, if you will end on a double crochet and make sure to do your chain 1 and then slip stitch into the top of your puff stitch that you started with, just like that. Now we're going to do round 20. So we chain 1 and then we will single crochet into that same space, and then you're going to single crochet into the chain space here, just like that, and then you're going to single crochet into the top of the double crochet post here from the previous round, and then you're going to single crochet into the chain space, and then you're going to single crochet into the top of the puff, and then single crochet into the chain space. So as you might guess, you're basically just going and doing a single crochet all the way around. Make sure you get the top, so do the top of the double crochet post, then in between in that chain space, then the top of the puff, and then in between in the chain space, and you will end up then with the same amount that you have had, 136. So continue to do that, and then I will meet you back at the beginning again for round 21. Hey, we are back. This is basically what your project should look like. Now it's just a little bit more reinforced on the top, so it will start looking really nice as your bowl. It looks kind of like, I don't know, an Italian pillar column thing. It looks elegant anyways, and like I said, if you don't want some kind of elaborate look, then just do single crochets, rounds of 136, around and around and around. So this is us here, though. We are going to slip stitch to the top of our first stitch that we made, and then for rounds 21, 22, and 23, you're going to chain one, go into the same stitch and do a single crochet, and then do single crochet all the way around. So do that for 3 rows, so 21, 22, and 23, and then I will meet you back when you're done those 3 rows. Hey all, we are back, and your little bowl should have some fancy sides. So this is what it looks like. Can you see that? It's kind of, there we go. Yeah, so that's what it looks like, kind of roughly done. Of course it's going to be soft and probably fall down a little bit because you're not done yet, but we're almost there. So for the next round, we are going to do another row of these puff and double crochet stitches. So start with a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's provided you have slip stitched and into the first stitch that you did in the last round. Okay, so we've chained 3, and remember you're going to yarn over and then pull up 3 loops. 1, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3, just like that. Then pull through, yarn over and pull through those loops and leave 1 on your, well, you should have 2 on your hook, and yarn over and pull through those. And then chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one do a double crochet, then chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one you do a 4 puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, pull through those, then yarn over and pull through the last 2, and then chain 1, and then skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, and then you're back to the puff. So do that all the way around, and then I will meet you back when you are done row 25. Welcome back. We have finished round 24. So you just slip stitch into the top of the first puff stitch that you did. You will still have 136 stitches all the way around. So for round 25, we chain 1, and then we single crochet into the same stitch, and then we single crochet into the chain space, single crochet into the top of the double the post of the double crochet, and single crochet into the chain space, and then single crochet into the top of the puff, and you do that all the way around again until you get to the beginning again, and that is row 25 done. So you can pause the video and I'll meet you back at the beginning here. Okay, welcome back. We are on to round 26, and that is going to mean we're going to change our hooks and use the 4mm hook from now on. So we're done with our 5. Can you see that? No. There we go. So for this round, it's simple. If you need your stitch marker still, then go ahead and use that. You're going to be going into the first stitch, well, chain 1 first, and then into the first stitch, and then all the way around you're going into the back loops only with single crochet. So back loop, single crochet back loops. So just do that all the way around. So you will have 136 stitches again, and then I'll meet you when you are at the end here, and we will do rounds 27 to 29, which are the same. Okay, now that you are done this row, you will have another little ridge here because you're creating this layer here that's going to fold in and kind of firm this area up. So, and it will also keep whatever you want to put in here in place because it'll be kind of doubled. And so if you're putting like potpourri or whatever, rocks or marbles or something, they won't like slip out the bottom here. And you can also use this for if you leave your keys and wallet out. It's a nice little bowl for that as well. So anyways, we slip stitch into the first stitch again, chain 1, and for rows 27, 28, and 29, you are going to just do single crochet around and slip stitch when you get to the end of each round, and then chain 1 and then go around the next round. So I will meet you when you are done rows 27, 28, and 29. So see you in a little bit. Yes, we are almost done. Welcome back. Here is what your bowl should look like. You'll have a little ridge, and then the inner part that's going to fold down. So what we're doing for the next 5 rows is decreasing it so that it's not going to be bunched up in here, and it's going to fit a little bit tighter, and then you will be done. So let's just start with row 30. So this is the first row where you're going to be decreasing. Is that blurry? There you go. Oh, there's hair there too. You don't want to see that, but whenever you're weaving in, when you have hairs in there, that's just love. Okay, so chain 1, and then you're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then another 14 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so you'll have 15 stitches in all, and then you're going to single crochet 2 together. So you pretend you're doing a normal crochet, single crochet, and then instead of yarning over and pulling through, put your loop through the next one, the next stitch, and pull up 3, and then yarn over and pull through all of those. So you'll only end up on the top with 1 stitch here instead of 2. Okay, so I'll take you through that again. So you're going to be single crocheting into the next 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, and then you're going to single crochet together, 2 together. So you go into the stitch, pull your yarn through, then go through the next one, and pull the yarn through. You'll have 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so just continue that all the way around. So it's 15 stitches and then decrease. And that will give you 128 by the end of your round. So when you're done that, I will meet you back for row 31. So this is row 30, round 30 actually. Okay, so yay, we've made it. Well, almost made it. Got a couple more rounds to go, but this is sort of what it should look like, and you will have 128 stitches right now. So we're going to chain 1 again and into the same stitch in the next 13. So you'll have 14 stitches and then decrease. So do 2 together and do that all the way around. So it's 14, 2 together, 14, 2 together. And by the end of round 31, you will have 120 stitches. So I will let you pause the video and meet you back at the beginning again. Okay, so we have 120 stitches, and for the next round, you're going to do 13 stitches, and then I did not slip stitch. Don't forget to slip stitch, everybody. So chain 1, and yeah, so it's 13 stitches into the first 13 stitches and then decrease. So it's 13, decrease, 13, decrease, all the way around until you have 112 stitches. And that is the end of round 32. So I will meet you back when you have 112. Hello, welcome back. Guess what? You're almost done. So now that you have 112 stitches, for the next 3 rounds, you're going to do the same thing. So just chain 1, and then into that stitch you do a single crochet and do a single crochet all the way around, slip stitch to when you reach the end, and then start again. So do that for rows 33, 34, and 35, and then you fasten off, and then I will show you how to put it all together. Okay, so this is basically the final sort of project. It's done, so all you have to do is fasten it off with if you've done your slip stitch just like that, then just pull your yarn through, and then you can take your little sewing needle and weave in the ends. But I'm just going to show you very quickly how to make this a little bit more sturdy. So you take your strips of plastic mesh. So take 2 of them and fold one in like this and let it kind of make contact. Then take the next one and fold it the opposite way. Just like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And then you lift your lip here of the bowl and let the plastic spring out and get to the edges of the base of the bowl, and then fold your lip over. Now if it's not sturdy enough, it might need a little bit more. So what you do is you take where it's kind of meets here, take a 3rd piece and stick the middle of it in there so that it's kind of reaffirmed. And I will weave that in. Now you'll see too that the connecting bit here is a little bit messy, but that's going inside. No one's going to see that. So that's fine. So just fold this over, and that creates, see, a very firm bowl all the way around. Just like that. Once you have that set, and just pretend that these are all woven in. Let's hide them so that, to give the illusion that we are more done. So then, if you have seen the tutorial for the spring, the easy spring flower, that is this right here. So what you can do is either fasten it to the bottom and then put things around, or you can lay it on top of whatever you have. So so you just use a little tiny skein of whatever color you want. And again, I used the Balthasar, the Spring Balthasar line from Republic of Yarnia, which is going to be linked below in the description, and that's my little store. So I'm just going to take a little bag of potpourri and stick that in just like that, and then put my flower on top like that, and then for the rest around, actually I should probably boost it a little bit. Let's put some more on there just so that it, we'll stick that there. So just like that, and that, friends, is your little potpourri bowl. So it's nice and firm, it's not going to go anywhere. You can also stiffen this with glue if you know how to starch things. So yeah, that's it. That's basically your bowl. I hope you enjoyed this. Have fun. Take your time doing this. You can make it in a different way if you want. I also have a written pattern. It's a PDF, and I will link to that below as well. And you can find that in either on my website or in my Etsy shop. So until next time, be well, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.